welcome everybody back to another episode of the Handsome Homebuyer Podcast. I am Charles, your host, aka the Handsome Homebuyer, aka Captain Permit, aka from the cheap seats.
We gotta do that again.
No, it's okay. We're just gonna get El Judío Maravilloso, which means for all you white, not Spanish-speaking people, the marvelous cheer. All right, great podcast this week. A lot of stuff going on this week. A lot of big deals in the hopper right now. Big commercial deals, residential deals. Picking up Foundation, the one in South Freeport today. That was on the vlog episode. We're going to build a house starting a week from now. Got that 5-family that we just locked down. Got another 2 deals under contract. And I'm very close to locking up another massive development deal. I feel like I'm on the edge right now. I feel like I'm on the... I've never been in this position. I feel like I'm on the edge of either insane greatness or this shit is about to hit the fan. But I kind of feel like I love being in that space, but I feel like you gotta be there in order to achieve greatness. And you can't just... I'm like, all right, calculated risk, but then it gets to a point where it's like something so big you can only know so much. You really have to like kind of grab your balls and jump after you prepare. And I feel like I'm right there. So we're gonna get some information, or we're supposed to get some information yesterday that we'll probably get today. That could be literally life-changing.
I've been watching. You got the onlookers very curious. This life-changing, momentous thing about that.
This is nuts. I'm waiting for, before I let the cat out of the bag, I need the contract back signed. I need it in my hand. I need to smell it. I need to look at it. And then I will be screaming, King Kong's got nothing on me in the park. With that said, awesome guest today. All right, so today's guest, has many, as I look over his social media and I meet him and talk to him, many layers, right, to this gentleman. Very interesting. Unbelievable hair. Right? I was talking to Maddie on the ride over. I was like, this guy's hairline hasn't moved ever. Super dense, beautiful. That's all natural, right? All natural. Unbelievable beard game, right? Handsome fellow, very well dressed. So on the outside, you look at him, very corporate, got it together, very educated, right? Then you peek behind the shirt, you see the tattoo, the graphics, which I want to get into later to find out exactly the meaning behind them. I didn't see all of them, and I'm sure I won't get to see the naughty ones, but And then you find out also that he's a trained killer, like a legitimate trained killer. Like, I felt a little tingly in the completely heterosexual way. I'm like, all right, cool. If I'm on the street with this guy, we're standing outside his new office, which Captain Permit is involved in getting the permits for, and I'm like, yo, if some guy or girl tries to mug me right now, I'm straight. He's going to take an arm, bend it into a pretzel, and beat him with it, and we're good. And for that one moment, I'm realizing, you know what? Like, I understand why girls like guys that can, like, murder you with a finger. So thank you for that. Owner of United Mortgage, partner with Mr. David Ang. These guys are opening a new facility in Levittown, totally shattering the status quo. Unbelievable retail mortgage, all-in-one experience like you've never, ever seen. This is the kind of stuff that people need to be doing if you want to compete in the modern world, because things are changing at a rate that I don't think anybody can keep up with and realizes. So with that said, Christian Berio.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for...
What do you think of the intro, man?
That was nice. I was like, really...
We covered all bases.
I know. I gotta like...
Train killer,
take you on the road.
sex symbol, whatever it is. So, I mean, dude, there's a lot... I like these things because we know each other, but now I get to, like, delve in deep.
Yeah.
And really find out the inner workings, because you're... Well, there's a couple different things.
You missed one really important one, right?
Fuck, I dropped the ball.
That's right. You didn't drop the ball.
What was it?
There was one, father for happily married.
Oh, that's right.
For, 17 years. Yes.
And you've been in the mortgage business for 18 years.
Yeah.
Father of 4, happily married. So where do I start with this? Hey, you're a local Long Island guy, right?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where'd you grow up?
In Deer Park.
Okay.
Deer Park. Yeah, went away to college. I went to Maryland with my brother. Didn't go to University but went, and I just wanted to spend time with him. So we ended up, rooming and stayed out on, in an apartment together.
Were you by Townsend?
Exactly, right by Townsend.
Dude, it's freaking nuts down there.
Yeah, it's really crazy.
I had buddies that went there that never came back.
Yeah.
that were just like, this is it?
And my brother.
50,000
He
kids.
stayed.
Oh, he's still there?
Yeah, he stayed. Opened up his own practice. Yeah.
What does he do?
He's a doctor of physical therapy.
Okay.
Yeah, so he kills it. He does really great.
So when you went to, how old are you? I mean, you look very young, but how old are you?
Thank you. I'm 38.
All right, 38 is young.
Yeah.
I'm 39. I'm about to turn 40 this year.
I'll be 39 this year.
Nice.
Yeah, December, baby.
39 is a good one, man. I don't know how 40 is going to be. I'll let you know.
I feel good. I think it has a lot to do with jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu keeps you sharp, man. Keeps you hard. Keeps you tough.
How long you been doing that for?
3 years.
Where do you train?
Gracie Baja in North Babylon.
Okay.
The place is awesome. You know what the black belt professor is? It's all about the professor that you have. This guy is just he's a world champ. You know, he's a televised fighter, and I get like a private session with him a week, which gives me that edge.
How are your joints?
Horrible.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I was legit. I'm like, this is gangster, but
That's
like,
the 39.
all my buddies are like, bro, my elbow.
Yeah, I gotta
my
start
knee.
taking fish oil or like I gotta start doing something.
Because basically, like, you're trying to just, hyperextend people's joints all day.
Yeah, we work. I walk around in a steady 25% pain threshold always. I'm like, something's always.
Really?
Yeah, like this week, it's my ear got smashed, so now I walk around with this crazy looking ear.
You're but it looks badass, bro.
Yeah, it's cool. I don't mind it.
So you've been doing it for 3 years.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know, like, what, because I think a lot of people like, oh, I wish, not that 35 is old, it's not. At that point you were 35. They're like, oh, I'm 35 or I'm 40 or I'm 50 or whatever. I wish I would have done that when I'm younger. People feel like, oh, they have to do these things. So what got you into doing that later on in life?
Everything they try to take on in life, if it's something that's like maybe it's another degree or a form of education, or maybe it's a hobby, or maybe it's, I plan to eventually learn guitar at some point in my life.
Okay.
The time will pass. The time will always pass. So at some point, I'm going to be 45. And if I would have just started guitar today, I'd have 5 years experience under my belt when I'm 45,
Nice.
right? So even if it's a little bit. So I thought the same thing. I ended up at 35 years old, 36 years old, going into jiu-jitsu, something I always wanted to do. I did a little martial arts back in the day, but jiu-jitsu was something that I really connected with. I had always wrestled with my brother, rolled around, and it felt very natural. I rolled with a guy, Grandmaster Sup, who is a black belt jiu-jitsu player, and world class, world champion, IBJJF, like real accomplished guy. And he's like 60 years old.
Okay.
And 120 pounds.
Shit.
And he would just make, our guy Dennis, big guy, 6'2", 240, whatever he is, he would pretzel him up in 30
Like it's
seconds.
nothing.
Like it's nothing.
Doesn't matter how big
It doesn't matter.
That's the only discipline.
At
Like,
all.
it doesn't matter.
At all, doesn't matter. And,
Like, Maddie back there could take down the biggest guy with the proper training.
100%. And 3 years later, Grandmaster Stuff will still embarrass me. Still to this day.
So is it the challenge of it? Because, I mean, you're a very successful guy, and the interesting about you is, like, you've been in mortgages for 18 years.
Yeah.
That's a big deal, bro. Because especially in the last 18-year period, certain industries like lend themselves to more shorter type of careers. I would say realtor, mortgage, wealth management, etc. Right? Yeah. You've been in the game and relevant. Not even so far as relevant. Like, you're changing the game. 18 years into it, you went from like the highest highs of crazy madness, like
did fantastic my first run,
to the market of as bad as it could possibly ever get in your lifetime.
Yeah, it was really horrible.
To the resurrection of where you are today,
which is beautiful. Yeah.
Talk to me about it.
That's a story because I have to give a lot of glory to my wife and my kids, because when you go through that roller coaster. And you make, good money, and really, good money is relative to where you live, right? So, like, if you make good money in Long Island, you're still just a Deer Park cat, right? Like, so I'm just a guy from Deer Park, round the way guy, make good money, stayed in my hometown because I like where people know my name and my egg sandwich and stuff like that. And, so when you do really well, and then you collapse and you fall, it's quite humbling. And when I went from having everything I wanted, making great money, had a house, to losing it all, never, lost the family. My wife stayed true to form. She was there through the shit. She was there through the glory.
Like, it got bad?
It got so bad. Like, so bad. I had to short sell my home.
Wow.
I had to go backstep, rent a place for a few years, reestablish my position. Not seeing my kids more than ever when there was no work to be had. The mortgage business, in essence, closed. You walked in one day.
Okay.
There was a sign on the door. We're closed. Sorry about your deals. Sorry about your office. Sorry about your life being over. But
Whoa. Wait.
the place is closed. That's how it works.
Hold on. I think we have to
Yeah.
just because I'm on overload right now. I want to swing back for a second.
Yeah.
So, you got into mortgages 18 years ago, which was what, 2001?
Yeah.
Okay, so 2001, before the towers came down?
No, that was
After the towers.
That was right. It was after the towers. Yeah.
So after the towers, then we started recovering.
Yeah.
So you literally from day one, rode that wave of, slumped economy as a result of the dot-com bubble and the towers falling, to up into the crash of 2008.
Yeah.
Tell me what that ride was like.
So when I started in 2001, I already had one child on the way at that point, and I was a steam fitter. I was a union worker. I like working my hands. I like doing physical stuff.
No shit.
Yeah. So I spent college steam fitting, and then once college was over, I was doing the steam fitting work as a local union guy. In the evening, from 2001 to probably 2004, working those 3 years in Timberlands and jeans in a mortgage office, and I wasn't there to waste my time. Like, I was there.
Wait, you left steam
I was
fitting.
steam fitting while I was doing mortgages part time.
Okay.
In the evening.
How did mortgages come into your life?
So a friend of mine who was
because that's a good union, bro. That's a great job.
It's a great union, and it gets you to like $120 an hour. It's really something spectacular.
Yeah.
It's a great package, and and it's the career a lot of people encourage you to do, right? The old school thought.
Yes.
Get a great union job, get great insurance, great retirement plan, put your 25 years in, and make it happen. But I watched the ends move for families in Long Island. Like, so yeah, that might be great. But it doesn't do a lot for your freedom. It doesn't do a lot for your choice in life. It doesn't really. There is a plateau. At the end of the day, you can only do so much. You might sound like you get $120 an hour, but you only take home $40. And then if you have a family, it might not just be enough. So I needed a little something extra.
What
So a friend of mine came to me.
Okay.
And great guy, and he kept showing me the result. His
commission checks.
His commission checks, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I hustle like him. I could probably hustle harder. Like, I know it's in me. And
yeah.
Once I started part time, he goes, listen, you could do it part time, and I'm sure if you could make just as much part time as you do steam fitting full time, well, when that happens,
make a transition.
So that happened in about 2.5 years. I sort of eclipsed in my 3-hour evening what I do in a 9-hour morning.
I'm curious to know, what did your parents do?
My parents both worked for Estee Lauder. They worked for the man,
corporate machine.
Corporate machine, and they encouraged that, and they were terrified that, but that was never my design, man. I'm not a corporate monkey, man. That's just not how I am.
So I'm the same way. I'm curious to know, like, I like to dig in and dissect. Yeah. So it's like, and it's also, I think, huge lessons for people that listen, because for all intents and purposes, you had the job that guys like, fuck, I wish I knew somebody or was related to somebody in this union, because this sets me up.
Yeah.
So for you to come from a place of, like, my father owned businesses his whole life. So like, that's all I saw. So that's like ingrained in me. Yep. So I innately feel comfortable in that environment. Mm-hmm. But you came from an environment that was very much the opposite. Yep. And then even though your parents were pushing you kind of like to stay in your lane, which was very successful and makes sense, you were like, I want more.
Yeah, I needed more. Like, so, my mother did a fantastic job. I was raised as a single mother. My father left when I was very, very young. So I watched her struggle doing it the way she knew best, which was get that fixed job, get that insurance, get that. I just thought there was a better way. I was convinced that there was other people who had all the things that they wanted. It's okay to want for things. It's okay to, like the greater, finer things in life, or to try to push for them. But you have to earn them. They don't just come to you. You have to really work hard for them. But that was never her focus. It was just get a good job, and there was a lot of contention when I said, hey, I'm going to make the switch and go, full-time mortgages. My stepfather, smart guy, but also working at Estee Lauder.
Different
he's like,
generation,
hey,
bro.
it's a different generation, right? He's like, listen, it's a fickle business, this, that, and the third. And he had his I told you so moment, right? A few years later, 2008.
Yeah, but now you're having your I told you so moment.
It was, but I told him I would stay the course, okay, it dipped down and it did something really terrible, and it made me very broke for many, many years. It broke me as a person, having to survive that. But I knew that the weak would leave.
Yeah.
The weak would get out. They wouldn't survive it, and I would not be in that group. I was gonna survive it.
Gotta stop there for a second also, because I want people to understand how powerful that is, right? I think it's really easy and for people to take it for granted when you're just saying it now on the other end of being through it and being as successful as you are. But think about being in that moment for a second. Like, you leave your corporate, you leave your very solid job, you're doing really, really well. The world comes to an end. You're probably in as much emotional pain and stress as you can. Have to short sale your house. Just you couldn't do shit. It doesn't matter how good of a mortgage broker you were. You couldn't do a deal. Nobody was lending for how many years?
It was about 2 years that it was just, you were trying to scratch at anything to find your way. It was about 2 years of just disarray.
So 2 years of total shit. And the whole time you're saying, it's going to be fine.
Yeah. I didn't know if I was convincing my wife or convincing myself. Maybe a little bit of both. But I knew deep down, I was not going to fail. I won't.
Dude, your wife's amazing.
She is. She most would have just said, we got to figure something out. We got to go. Or she stuck by, and she.
Wow.
It wasn't without challenge. She was concerned. She's like, when's
course.
it going to happen? And our business is the type where you go to work every day and you don't bring home a paycheck at the end of the week. You go to work on the weekend, you don't get overtime. So I promised her. I said, babe, these days I'm gone, and these weekends I'm gone, and this time that I'm not here, it will pay dividends later, but you have to trust me. And it's very later. And what happened in 2008, I never was going to do the mortgage business the way that we did it before. I'm a firm believer in, you can't change the things around you, the people around you. You can only change one person, yourself. That's it. You cannot change how the market is done.
Yeah.
But you can change how you work within that market. So I felt there was things that we could do to insulate this business so that we're protected in case there ever is this type of recession again. And that's when I turned my attention entirely to the purchase business of mortgages.
Interesting. I think our generation, I think us at our age, we're at a really, really perfect place because we're young enough to have a lot of life to live, but we got to experience some really bad economic shit that we learned from that I don't think, millennial people, if you're 30 years old right now, I think you're a little bit fucked because you didn't get to experience that. All you got to experience is
To come up.
Yeah. We've seen, it'll never be like that, I don't think, in our lifetime again. We've seen some really bad shit.
Yeah, really bad.
So I think about that now in my current business. When I started flipping houses, I'm like, cool, I'm going to flip houses to buy rental houses because when the cycle kicks back again and it's guaranteed to come back, I'm not going to starve. If I can't do shit.
Right.
So I'm curious to know, and, if I'm getting too personal, please tell me. But so I think a lot of people, what they start doing is they start making money, they start making a lot of money or any level of money. And they start living their day-to-day as if that money's always going to come in without any kind of passive income. Were you just living your lifestyle, and then obviously when the faucet got shut off, there was no money there, if it's not coming in every week, you're screwed essentially.
That's right. Yeah, it happened. So it couldn't have happened even worse because into November 2007, I was able to save maybe $80,000. Okay. And I put literally every last red penny into that home I bought, which 6 months later had to get short sold. So everything that left. And I didn't even realize it was happening. I literally took off November 2007 through January 2008 to Bob Villa, my own home. I was later swinging hammers, feeling like I was the man. When I came back in January,
it was done.
They were like, yeah, man, everything's done. And I just sat there and spent the last bit of my savings, and I really
Wow.
I made a huge mistake. But I would refuse not to learn from it. You know, like I realized what I did wrong, and what I could do better. You know.
Holy
and my wife survived it.
shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
But one of the things I think that was really important, my grandfather taught me this lesson a long time ago. Not having a father for my younger years, my grandfather stepped in to take his place and teach me some life lessons. Never let him see you sweat. Never let him see you sweat. You know, when things aren't good, it doesn't matter. They're good. They're fine. You got it. Be poised. Have control. Don't be weak. Just keep it together. And he led by example. He had it together all the time, and I took that from him. So even in my most difficult time, I never seemed desperate. I thought about what I was doing. I was calculative what I was doing. The people that I shared with, the people that I grew with, you know, I think my partner Dave would say, he said the whole time, he's like, you know, I don't know, he can't be him. He's like, you know, Christian, he said the other day, he's like, you're always just chipper. You're always in a good mood, you know. And I genuinely am. It's not a front. I find it easy to be happy. And then that happiness and that positive attitude makes it easy to make better decisions and be successful and learn from mistakes and chalk it up to, it's not what was me and why this happened to me. It's none of that. Thank you. It happened to me. Yeah. Thank you for this lesson. I'm going to take this thing. I'm going to repackage it. I'm going to make it better, and I'm going to learn from it. You know, most people crumble, and then they walk. They try something new.
Thus is like the beauty of life, like the ups and downs, the roller coaster that is life. Like life can't be all up. It can't be all level. It's the highs, it's the lows, and it's about embracing those moments. Like I love the highs, but like I embrace the lows too, because I'm like, all right, cool, something great is going to come on the other side of this.
The lows were, you know, it's so incredibly low, and without going too in detail and to make it too, you know, and this is not a pity thing. This is really just a demonstration of sort of the dedication that my partner had to me at the time as well. He saw me going through this downswing, and he rescued me financially. You know, he came in and said, listen, man, I want to be your partner, but I can't have a partner who is, you know, crying over the oil tank because I'm putting in a gallon of diesel to keep the heat on for 6 hours in the winter. Like, it was just so bad.
You guys were partners at the time.
We weren't. We worked together, side by side, at the same company.
Okay.
And he saw me being taken advantage of by said company, and he
That's
said,
a tough business, man. In general, it's a tough business.
It is. But he saw the value in, you know, Dave was, you know, he saw what I was doing for the company.
Okay.
But because I was so worried about making money, I took any bit of money. I took a little $40,000, you know, salary just to have some food to bring home, something. But then I was able to quantify 100 closings, or I was able to quantify quite a bit of work, and you know, the amount of work I was providing to the company wasn't commensurate to the amount of money that they were paying me. And my partner said, "Listen, we could do this, you and I. You know, you don't have to worry about being held up by a corporate machine," which spoke to my language, right? I was like, "Let's do it independent." And so he really was my parachute. Dave.
Wow.
Dave came in like a guardian angel, and so like and we have committed to each other, much like, it sounds so lame, but we went through, you know, little mini vows. Like, we're together forever, and I will never leave you, ever.
You guys actually had this physical conversation?
We had this conversation, like, you know.
Do you repeatedly kind of have this conversation, or?
We talk about it. We reflect on it all the time, because it allows us to have heated discussion. It allows us to have arguments that would end a lot of people's relationships. It allows us to have our opinions, or wear our heart on our sleeve, tell everybody how you feel. Because if you know at the end of the day, it's not going to result in a breakup, which is what kills so many businesses, right? When you get together. So we committed to each other a lifelong partnership. And
oh, shit.
My partner David does not know failure. Like, it's not allowable. It's not conceivable. It's not something that we will do. And his resolve and his faith in me allowed me to release some of my worry, and then it let my brain work. So if I don't have to worry and my brain can function, I can fire on all cylinders with maybe my marketing mind, my artistic mind, and it'll allow us to grow. So we then split up some roles. He does one function of the business, I do the other, but he really was the parachute, you know, that helped me get out of that, you know, big time, really, more than people really know.
Bro, I got to tell you,
yeah.
This is why I have a podcast. that was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
What's fucking awesome about doing this right now is that I get to meet people like you who get to tell me shit like that, who get to fucking inspire me. And the cool thing is, like, I see you going there. Like, I see you in that moment of, like, pain.
It was rough. I get emotional because it was really, really rough.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was rough.
And the fact that, like, I mean, dude, because for some, I feel like I'm trying to do my best to feel like what it was like for you in that situation. And then, like, thankfully you had the support of your wife, and then now he comes in.
Yep. And that's all I needed. Between he and my wife, I was liberated. I felt like, oh, okay, now I could do what I have to do. You know, my wife saying, just do it. Figure it out. I got your back. I'm here. Dave saying, never worry about your money problems. You know, I got your back. I'm gonna help you out. And so, you know, I was able to just, in my personal life, survive with the help of Dave.
Holy
and then professionally,
shit.
Together we were able to, you know, it's like a big brother to me. It's like a big brother.
Wow. Dude, I feel like I have to hug him when I see him.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Just because, like, I feel
he's
like...
He's a remarkable guy. I wish, you know, he just doesn't like, he doesn't put his face out there. He just likes to stay behind the thing and do it, you know, but
Which is okay,
he's
and that's why...
Dude.
So, and it's interesting, I want to get on this topic because I've never really had a partner in something, right? Now, I'm not against partnerships per se. Yeah. I kind of like to do what I want to do. So partnerships are tough, right?
Quite.
So I would say maybe 90%, they're like marriages, but I think even harder.
Yeah.
So I would say, let's say, I'm making up statistics, 80, 90% of them, you know, fail or are very tough. I would
definitely say the vast majority, 90% probably eventually fall off.
Yeah, or you just like secretly or publicly hate your partner for whatever reason.
I had a couple of partners prior to Dave.
Okay. In
my first stint, I had an office at the mortgage zone. I had a branch office, and at the end of the day, you know, if you're not real 50-50 partner, you don't. Then there's tension there. Yeah. So we have a true 50-50 partnership. Other partnerships were, you know, 60-40s or in either direction, and that creates like an uncomfortable feeling. So we really took on this partnership role for what it is, its base function. We're gonna just be 50-50, but we're also going to divide responsibility. Okay. Our business, maybe unlike yours, our business is just two-sided. There's a sales side, and then there's a closing side.
Interesting. Or processing side, you would say?
Side.
Okay.
And a loan officer does all. A loan officer, a real true loan officer,
is involved the whole way.
Does both. But that doesn't mean that's the right way. They're involved the whole way, but that doesn't mean that in the course of doing business that it's the way you should do it. If you're a really great loan structuring salesperson, then that should be your only function. When it comes to closing a loan, let a processor, an underwriter, and your assistant handle those functions. So we split the pie down the middle. One is the opener, and the other is the closer. We have a big, you know, this is a big sticking point with Dave and we never do the same thing, ever. You're just wasting time. You're wasting time.
So I was going to ask you then, I think that's probably why your partnership has thrived and survived, and it's very smart the way you do it, because I feel like people partner because, for a couple reasons. A, they feel they need money, or B, they just feel like they can't do it alone.
I feel like that's why they don't partner.
Why?
People don't partner because they don't want to share their money.
I feel like people partner because they need to pool money a lot of times. Like, well, maybe it depends on the business. Like, people come to me and they're like, you know, I want to partner with, you know, I have a partner. Right. I'm looking to get a partner to invest because they think they need money.
Sure.
Right? Whereas, like, dude, that's not, I'm like, why do you need a partner? Explain it to me. Mm-hmm. But the way you set it up is brilliant because it's like, it's the way a partnership should be. Mm-hmm. You partnered for your weaknesses. Mm-hmm. Right?
100%.
Your strength is to be the guy that's out there, to be the sales guy, to freaking be ringing the bell, to make it happen, right? To be on social media. Mm-hmm. And to your point before, where he's like, he wants to be the behind the scenes operational guy. Mm-hmm. It's a perfect fit because you can't be the sales guy and be the operations guy.
That's right.
Ain't gonna happen.
And I really don't think that anybody can really do it. You're one or the other. You know, you're not a sales guy and then also a computer jockey. It's too conversive a relationship. It's not real. You know, so what we do in our training program as we bring people in, we, after the first year or two, determine where they are. And then we help them grow. And we have a whole structure in growing a loan officer, a junior, a sales guy into, you know, their next 15 years. We have a recipe for them. which I think is lacking in the business. And we determine, okay, which route are you going to go? Which direction are you going to go? And that's how we'll utilize that person's best skills in our office.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Ironically, I don't know why this is coming together today. I did a video before that we're going to post out that says, as an employer, so I feel as an employer, it's my job, or all employers' jobs, to develop their people to the point where they can leave you.
Yeah.
Right. During that process, they're helping you realize your vision of growing your business, etc. But you're giving them value to the point where that when they leave, and it's like a bittersweet thing, but like they might end up being an investor or opening a mortgage company or whatever, or going a completely different direction. But I feel like we have a responsibility to elevate the people that work with us.
Absolutely.
So it's cool you say that.
And what we've tried to create is so much success where they could be independent. And they could go on their own and they could do their own thing, but they choose not to, because they realize that we made a roadmap, and the roadmap we created was as a result of me I'll never go back to where I was in 2008 and 9. So we created this roadmap so we don't fail the new person coming in, so they don't experience that, so we can insulate success, so we can show them growth over time, which is very lacking in the business. It's not a 5-year plan. People don't have that. A 10-year plan, a 15-year plan. Within my team, within my model, we've created that. We've constructed that so that you can have a career over many, many years. And if you get to your 15th year and leave us, I find it even hard to say, because we become very family. Like we're it's nothing short of family in our office. Like the people that I have, I love them dearly. I know Dave loves them dearly. We care about them, and we put a lot of time and work into them, and they feel that and they see that. We don't just set them on their way and let them flounder, be on their own. We're very much a part of every person's business. They pick up some slack that we need. We pick up slack or experience that they don't have, and we help them out. And if we grow and elevate together, like, I don't see why anybody would ever leave.
Interesting. No, I mean, it makes sense.
But we want to empower them, right? We want to give them the ability. We want to give them those branch opportunities, and we want to help them grow. And then we never stifle, where they can be. We never, cap them on their income potential.
I mean, as you're talking about this, I think about the world, and like, we're blessed enough to understand like how investments work and how passive income works and all that stuff. But the average person, like, there's economic cycles, period. Like every 7 to 12 years, there is going to be a correction of some kind. And then now in today's world, things are becoming obsolete so fast that if you don't get comfortable with constantly changing or looking for the new angle within an industry or in a totally different industry, you're in trouble. So like as you're saying all those things, I'm just thinking to myself, how is we as employees, like, employers help our employees prepare for, I guess, retirement or downturns? I don't have an answer for that. I'm just that's what I'm thinking.
I've thought about that a lot, to nausea, right? Like because in promising my wife and my kids, we'll never go there again.
Yeah.
I couldn't make that promise without a plan.
Yeah.
So I often talk about this with a lot of my realtor partners. There are 2 businesses that run concurrently in every single business. It doesn't matter what business you have. So we could use Best Buy or McDonald's or any business of any type. There's actually always 2 businesses running. I'll say in some analogies and maybe examples, right? At McDonald's, for example, when you walk in to buy a hamburger, there's a fry guy, a burger guy, a cashier, maybe a manager, and maybe a housekeeper for the day, right? So there's 5 people on staff that service that now customer.
Okay.
Customer walks in today, we have to have all hands on deck to service that person. I would also say that at the same time, simultaneously, there is not just 5, maybe hundreds, if not thousands of people who work on the other part of McDonald's business, which is the future hamburger buyer.
Okay.
And so really what's happening is you have a set of staff and protocol and processes and systems to deal with your now client. But then you have a staff, systems, protocol, and things to deal with your future client. And if you're not carving out time to build your future business, you won't have any.
Okay.
The key is making sure you have enough time in your day to service the people walking in the door today, and also make time every day to target where you're going in the future. And that's when we talk about making those plans of this is what you're going to do from year 1 to 3, and we back into it. This is what you're going to do from years 3 to 5. This is what you're going to do from years 5 to 10.
This is for your employees.
Yeah, and I think it's true about any business. Any business.
Do you personally do this with them?
Yeah.
Do you consider yourself to be a very organized person and a very excellent with time management?
No, horrible.
Yeah, I am too.
Dave
Most sales guys are.
is amazing at time management.
Okay. So he handles that.
No, we come together with a lot of these different concepts, but that's not processing loans and closing loans. That is more about the sales. Like, how do you insulate the next tier of business, the next 5 years of business? So I deal with more of the setting a course for your next 5 and 7 or 10 years.
But are you helping them kind of like restructure retirement in the sense that you're like X amount of your income, like we're projecting you to do this year 1, 2, 3. You're gonna move money out here. We suggest you do these things. It's
not a typical retirement per se, like what people think. Oh, we have to fund an IRA or fund a 401k or things like that. I think our business works completely different than big corporate America, right? Our business ends with people retiring as real estate investors.
Really?
Flippers, right? Well, for the most part,
interesting.
You'll see really successful realtors become investors. You'll see them see an opportunity to buy a house, maybe flip it for more money, and they tend to go into a retirement type of living by those transactions. So you have to amass a certain amount of wealth so that you can, or a certain amount of income, so that you can see an opportunity, invest in it,
interesting,
make money from there, and then you could begin thinking about retirement money. But you have to get to the point where you are independent financially from whatever it is you have, the help around you.
Yeah.
You have to be able to make enough money in Long Island, which is really, really expensive. So you have to make enough money and then also seize opportunity when it's there in front of you. That, I think, is a retirement. My retirement goals are to have 4 strip centers, 4 commercial strip centers. That's my retirement plan. At first I have to amass a certain amount of wealth to put that 25% down, and I'm on that roadmap. I'm saving, doing what I can, so I can go ahead and make that initial down payment on a $3 million, commercial strip mall.
Not necessarily if you know the handsome home buyer
That's
who knows how to do that without that money.
Fantastic.
Just saying.
All right, good.
Now that we're there, we're tight. I feel like we've reached another level.
I'm sure you could teach me a lot.
And vice versa, we all can.
Yeah.
So, and I'm happy to help in that regard to show you how you can get there easier. Now that I know that that's your goal, because I feel like a lot of people, like when I meet people, and I feel you the same way because you just did it. I'm always like, I always ask people what they're doing, what are their goals, what do they do for a living, right? Yeah. And then when I find out, I genuinely care about it, and I think to myself, okay, how can I help them achieve their goals? Who do I know that I can link them with, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. Right? I think that's super important. Mm-hmm. And I think on the flip side, I think it's very important to vocalize what you want to do and what your goals are, because you never know who you're talking to or who they know or whatever, right? People are always like, oh, I don't want to be salesy. I don't want to talk about what I do. Like, you don't have to be a dick.
Yeah.
You don't have to be
That's what we do.
Cocky. Like, this is what I do. Oh, what do you do? I'm really genuinely interested in hearing about what you do. Genuinely interested in hearing, like, this is how you want to structure your retirement. And now I'm like, great, I could offer some help in that department. So I think people in general just have to do that more.
Yeah, you got to be willing to learn. You got to be willing to hear the different strategies,
So what I want to talk about now is, if it's cool with you, is so after that you get through that point, now you're back on the rise. Now we're in a point of like very competitive market, and you come up with this new concept, this revolutionary concept of the experience of real estate and mortgages. How does that come together? What is it? And like, what are the challenges? Talk me through like what's going on in the process of it.
Sure. I guess it really starts because, or it started with the advent of the digital piece, the Quicken Loan, right? That's, let's say, one of our largest competitors because they make it really easy. They have some sort of like 8-minute pre-approval thing, which I think sounds good.
Yeah.
But it's not realistic. Even a buyer needs to know that they shouldn't want to spend only 8 minutes to structure the next 30 years of their life and figuring out their finances. And what these digital pieces do is they take away the whitening eyes connection. They take away the, what if I have this scenario? You can't ask a machine the little nuances that there's about 1 billion questions that the customer asks. So we thought that the H&R Block model, everyone could do TurboTax, everyone could do H&R Block online.
Okay.
But they also have facilities where you walk in, and when you walk in, you know what you're going to get. You know you're going to walk in, you get educated on your taxes, you're going to be able to do your taxes, you're going to be able to ask questions to a human being. And so we wanted to bring sort of that retail approach where there's tons of questions when buying a house. We need to have someone to be able to connect with that person face to face, not just defer to a machine. Mm-hmm. So in seeing that needed to be, that was where the void was in the industry, and we were gobbling up, and we knew it was a void because we were converting a very many Quicken Loan client into our clients, because the overall feeling is I can't get with somebody, I have to upload documents myself, I have to do the deal myself, I need answers. Yeah. And we found that, well, we're here, and here's our cell number, and call me 24/7.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what a breath of fresh air! Thank God so much. So they just need an ease of use. They need accessibility. So what's more accessible than to go storefront retail approach? Listen, we have to spend the money on rent anyway, right? We have to have a facility where people could work anyway.
An office is very expensive, and it's not a welcoming, it's not like retail space. If anything, it's a really good opportunity because retail space is going down in price, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And office is sterile. It's not welcoming. It sucks.
Very stuffy, and very intimidating, especially for a low to moderate income person who maybe is bilingual, who is very afraid. Maybe they have a work visa that's expiring or credit that's not so good, and it's very hard to help and serve that community from a corporate building sort of place. But if we make it a warm, welcoming place, come in, we'll teach you, no pressure, just come and learn. And I don't care, I'm not looking, this is the importance of going back to building the future. I don't care if you're buying now. It's irrelevant to me. If you ever want to buy, we got your back. So the process to buy a house is, everybody wants to do it. Who if you ask, well, you want to buy a house? Is going to say, no, not really. They all say yes. Okay, well then why aren't you doing it now? Well, I have to do these things. Do what? Who's telling these people who want to buy a house in 3, 4, 5 years? Who's telling them what they really should do? A lot of times they think time will fix my credit. No, it doesn't. Fixing your credit fixes your credit. You have to take action. So we have to set a roadmap for those people. So we set a roadmap. We nurture our clients over time. If it takes them 2, 3, 4 years to transact, who cares? It's money in the bank. I got to go to work today for that later. Yeah. No big deal. But that client is feeling 3 years of service, 3 years of dedicated person that's going to be there for them and actively engage them. And
which nobody does, by the way. This is next level shit, bro.
And this is why in the recovery of 2009, 10, 11, when I got with Dave, was why I still was having success and we were still transacting and closing purchase business, why we still didn't have any money. What we did was we took the transactions that we had and we created staff so that more people can service more people over time. And as we are getting more and more clients, we grew our staff a little bit. And the biggest sacrifice that mortgage people will take, they don't seem to take, is they don't convert to purchase business. Purchase business takes a little while to get off the ground, a year or two before you're going to be really thriving. And in that year or two, you're not making the money you want. Yeah. You're maybe not getting by. It takes a tremendous amount of sacrifice.
As a loan officer. To say, okay, I'm bringing X dollars, but I have to think about my future. I have to lay out a ground floor. I have to make smart decisions with what am I doing with this money as far as maybe purchasing, buyer campaigns or pairing with a realtor on a Zillow campaign or things, the typical things that you do as a banker realtor relationship. So that allows you to build the 3, 4, 5 years from now future business. What the business you do today in our industry has nothing to do with what you did yesterday. The business you close today has everything to do with what you did 2 years ago. Wow.
It really does. It has nothing to do with what you did yesterday at all. These clients that are out there shopping for homes, they spend 6 months poking around at 20 houses. Before that, they spend 6 months fixing their credit. There's a year right there. So if you make a fantastic sale today and the guy's like, yes, you know what, I really want to buy, set me up on the roadmap. Okay, well, in 12 months, we might close that person. That doesn't mean that we close in 12 months, right? It's that person isn't ready, perhaps.
There's a process to everything.
There's a process.
And the process for somebody, a lot of people buying houses is like you're saying. You have to be mentally prepared. You have to save a certain amount of money. You have to repair your credit. Mm-hmm. Then, the realtor you have to find a good realtor. You have to go and see properties.
Find a house. There's not a lot of inventory.
Yeah, it takes time.
25 homes.
That's interesting. I didn't realize, but now it
There's a lot of
makes
lead
sense.
time. There's a lot of lead time in the purchase side.
And I have a lot more respect for loan officers after hearing that, because you have to have the vision, and then you have to have faith in these people, because you're basically, if you're a good loan officer, you're selflessly just helping people for a minimum of 12 to 24 months before you start getting a return.
And then most loan officers, without a system around them to show them that, don't be afraid. This is normal. This is the roadmap. This is how it's going to end. This is where you're going to land 3, 4, 5 years from now. Yeah. Most of them say, okay, well, while I'm building that, let me quickly divert my attention to these refinances. And they focus on refinances, right? Refinances are great because you can help a client today who owns a home. You can give them a better rate and a better term on their loan, and you can make money right away. And that's a very now client. So many loan officers turn to the now client, and that comes at a huge cost. Yes, you're making money now because maybe you don't want to build that future business. It's a lot tougher to stay broke and build that future business. So they stick and they go to refinances. The problem is the opportunity cost is huge on the other side, because if you're spending the time doing that, which is again chasing the now, you are foregoing the future plan.
And I think that's a lot of people's problems. Like in any business across the board, like it takes a certain amount of time to get good at something. If you are just throwing in the towel to change halfway through, you're just wasting a lot of time. You're going to have the same process and the same outcome over and over again, which is being at everything you do.
For every time you switch to plan B, you're stealing from plan A. You're not focusing on plan A anymore. And if plan A is real and it works, well, then do nothing else but plan A.
100%.
Do it all the way.
What you're saying is definitely resonating with Matt, because I see this like extreme look on his face of like he's reflecting on his life right now as this is going on. Bro, I mean, don't take this the wrong way, but I feel in life that a lot of people are full of shit. Yeah. Right? And in a lot of businesses, and mortgages are one of those people. You, my friend, are fucking awesome. Thank you. And I genuinely mean that from my heart. Like, you're the kind of guy, based on this conversation, that like I would love to be involved with in any kind of capacity I can, because I don't really work with mortgage people because I think they're full of shit. Yeah. You're awesome.
Thank you.
Like, and if somebody's in the if someone wants to be in the mortgage business, I encourage them to come and speak with you, because I have no doubt, based on what we've done here today, that you're the best that's out there. No bullshit. You're the man. Dave is great. I thank you guys for the opportunity, and if there's anything I can do for you, you fucking really rock. I wish you so much success.
Yeah, we'll be working together quite a bit, I'm sure.
With that said, how do people get in touch with you if they need a mortgage? If they want to experience the new office, which will be open soon, if they aren't happy where they're working right now and maybe they want a change of environment, how do they get in touch with you?
So, my name's Christian Berio. I think it's really easy. You could Google me, you could Facebook me, you could social me. You could obviously ring my phone, shoot me a text message. I'm sure we'll have a link or something where I could put something a bio or something there for you. You could. I'm pretty easy to find. Just Google me.
And if you have a house that smells like cat pee, it's dated from the 1960s, has 6 inches of mold on the wall, human waste rotting past the basement steps, development opportunity, whatever it is real estate related, I'm low maintenance. I want to buy it. 516-777-SOLD. Thanks again, bro. That was powerful shit.
Thanks for having me, bro.
I think people are getting a lot of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Orgulloso estoy de mi herencia judía. Benjamin Levittown, cuando me llaman a la torre, así me llamo.